Alright, here's first test run. Now it appears that I'm missing a step or gaining a step somewhere, or a few steps maybe. Yeah, we got a lot of things to adjust, and I'm amazed I haven't ripped off the hot end through one of these exposed heads that is not recessed. And I'm not heated, so I can't believe this is not warping like mad, but it's gonna be a pain to get it off of there too. But hey, we're squirting out plastic and moving back and forth, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so here she is. There's Y, and that slides back. That's my belt tension. There's a little table for it. Okay. Here is X is good. Here is this. Okay, so there's the motor for X. And then here, well, we'll get to the Z brackets. Here's X going back and forth. And it's got these little stop switches. And I can use different, like I'm using really long bolts right now for the bumps to hit the stop switches because my table's so small. I've got to make a much bigger table, obviously. That's the biggest piece of anything I had, so figure that out. Here's the other side of X. Here's the two idlers. Okay. And then, oh, here's the other end of Y. That's the idler in the back. You can see it's captured inside of the plexi, and the plexi is notched to fit over the angle iron, and it's all bolted in. Okay. Now my Z, there's a bracket at the top and bottom, and the coupler nut that goes to this threaded rod is actually milled in. Here's one of my test cuts. So here is, you can see there's a hexagonal recess. That recess is right there, you can see it, and that's where the coupler nut is. There's a hole in the frame, and the nut goes all the way through the frame and is captured on the bottom. So now I've gotten comments and emails about this. Oh, why you should use Acme thread? Oh, Acme thread. Okay, here's the rundown. This entire machine was built on a huge budget. This is like $200. Steel I had on hand, a bunch of stuff I had on hand. I was not going to spend the asinine amount of money on Acme rods, and here's why. Number one, it's this cheap stuff from the hardware store is about a 20th the price, and if you know how to kind of deal with it, you can make it work really, really well. Okay. Also, the coupler nut is like $2.23, whereas Acme nuts are like $3 something a piece, and I've yet to find an Acme tall threaded nut. So it's just a ridiculous amount of money, and you don't need it. Number one, there is no slop because these are only going one direction with weight on it, and no bit. There's no torque anywhere, so there's no slop. They're only going one direction. So that's number one. Number two, all you have to do is you just run a die. You just retap it. You just run a die all the way down the length of it to get any of the zinc goobers off. Then you run it a wire brush over it, blow it off with the compressed air, and grease it, and it works slick as snot. There's some cheapy thrust bearings there. Here, if you wait a second, you can see Z zip along here. Almost done. And 3, 2, 1, maybe. It's the big layer. What are we doing here? Alright, come on, go up. There it is. That's a long way getting there. Okay, here is my Coolie control panel. It has a button, it has a USB, and then it has my encoder wheel. You can see here. So as I turn it, you can watch it in there. You can see the recess. That's my set screw, and you can actually hear it going faster now. So there's the cool wheel up underneath, right, with the encoder, and then there's the button and the USB. Okay, and then there's the Mega that's running everything, and the SD card will plug in and hang out right there. Okay, there's the SD card. Here's my motor drivers, my 2 MOSFETs. That's my extruder driver, and then here are the X, Y, and Z stepper drivers. Those are eBay cheapies, and they've got a nice glass cover that covers them up, makes it cool. I could watch that belt going back and forth all day. And then last but not least, this is my new build table. These are 6x9, so I'll have 12x9 plus glass. Ooh, and we just homed. We're done. Stop singing. These motor drivers sing. There. Okay, so so that was a mess, but it printed, and it's wicked high. I think it's twice as tall as it should be, which means I think I've got my Z on 8 steps instead of 16. Coolie wheel. I can adjust all my settings here. I mean, it's all right here, right? And I just want to do something cool with my wheel. It's all snazzy, and it bolts on right there. I'm using this USB. I've got to wire in this guy pretty soon, and there she is. So there you go. There's my update. Got a lot of adjusting to do, but we're moving, and nothing is blue smoked yet. So doing good. It's a good night. Ding.